gonna hit record, and we still have people joining us. Katie Cervantes just joined. I'm gonna go ahead and record on this meeting. Hi, Ms. Lopez.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Mr. Jaramillo.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ms. Sanchez just joined us as well. Hi, Ms. Sanchez.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Okay. And we may have had somebody else join the screens. Oh, no, it's another Ms. Russo. So it must be your computer or something.
I like to have multiple computers up. Although I forgot, I can watch chat. I'm not presenting, so I guess I don't need to be on two. In my classes, I always have two up.
All right. So I'm sure we may have other people join us. I don't know if you wanted to go ahead and get started. Did we lose Ms. Valentine? I think so. She was on the screen. Oh, there she is.
We were getting ready to start? Or?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, awesome. So welcome everyone to Steinmetz College Prep Local School Council for the month of February. So today, February 10, we're starting at 5:03. Master Surgeon Davis, if we could have a roll call.
Okay, ma'am. And I'm going back and forth to different screens because my other computer is acting up. I guess it's a bad day for all of us. Mr. Jaramillo?
Present.
Ms. Valentine?
Present.
Mr. Keelis? Sergeant Davis, present. Ms. Lopez?
Present.
Ms. Russo?
Present.
Mr. De Jesus?
Present.
Ms. Hernandez?
Present.
Ms. Sanchez?
Present.
Ms. Oswego? Mr. Oswego? Mr. Toledo? Ms. Aguirre? And Ms. Cervantes?
Present.
Nine present. Time now 5:04. We have a quorum.
Great, thank you all that are joining us, our council member, our student rep. We go to the first part of the agenda is to approve our local school council agenda that we're going through today. Thank you, Master Sergeant, for sending it out. Anyone wants to, yes, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented for the February meeting.
I second.
Open for discussion.
I sent it out a little late, so I don't know if you want to give them like another 3 or 4 minutes to look at it.
Sure.
Yeah, and I apologize for that.
Okay. So close for discussion, roll call vote.
Mr. Jaramillo?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you
sir.
hear me? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
okay, yes.
Ms. Valentine? Mr. Keelis? Is not here. Sergeant Davis, yes. Ms. Lopez? Mr.
Yes.
Russo? Mr. De Jesus?
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez?
Yes.
Mr. Oswego is not here. Mr. Toledo is not here. Mr. Aguirre is not here.
Yes.
And Ms. Cervantes. 9 yes, no no's. Motion passed 5:06 p.m.
Thank you for that. The next item number 2 in our agenda is the approval of the previous local school council meeting. Those were included in the email with the agenda. So I know it was given a little short notice, so if you didn't have time to glance at it, we should do that at this time. So I make a motion to approve the local school council minutes.
I second that.
Open for discussion.
And just keep in mind, ma'am, that there's 2 minutes because January was we didn't have any official business for the LSC council. So there are December meeting minutes and then January meeting minutes. So if we want to make a motion to do them separate because there's 2 separate motions on there, I greatly appreciate it.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve the minutes from our December meeting. That's the first motion.
I second.
Close for discussion, roll call vote.
Mr. Harmel,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Ms. Keeler is not present. Sergeant Davis, yes. Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Russo, Mr. De Jesus,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Hernandez, Sanchez,
Yes.
Mr. Oswego is not here. Mr. Toledo is not here. Mr. Aguirre is not here. Ms. Cervantes,
Yes.
9 yes, no no's. Motion passed 5:08 p.m.
There's another motion we will make, is to approve the minutes from our January meeting, which was our organizational meeting. So I make a motion to approve those minutes.
And I second that.
Second.
Open for discussion? Close for discussion, roll call vote.
Mr. Harmel,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Ms. Keeler is not present. Sergeant Davis, yes. Ms.
Yes.
Lopez, Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Mr. De Jesus,
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez, Mr. Oswego is not here.
Yes.
Mr. Toledo is not here. Ms. Aguirre is not here. And Ms. Cervantes. 9 yes,
Yes.
no no's. Motion passed 5:10 p.m.
One important part of our LSC and is public participation. So do we have any public participation, Master Sergeant?
No, ma'am. We did have one request, but the person emailed and canceled and said her issue was resolved. And so we have no request standing.
Great. So we'll go to the next part of the agenda, the chair report. So my report is brief. I think since our last meeting, as a LSC chair, I think what I've been doing and participating in has been our sustainable school grant, which is meeting with the committee that works with our CBO and our principal in creating the plan and reviewing the data and how the programming is. I will say that I've engaged in some one-on-ones with some of that staff because, as you know, I've asked them in the past to report to the LSC. Some of the numbers to the programs are low, and I think they're low not just at Steinmetz, but in general for the program. So we just want to figure out ways that we could continue to engage more of our students and parents through that grant. So one thing that I've been talking to Mr. Jaramillo and Ms. Cassandra about and have talked about is how do we bring back some of the parent programming, or at least have the ability to have a space for parents at the Parent University site. If it's just for food distribution, if it's just for masks, if it's just for any resources that they may need. So I think a lot of my energy as an LSC member has been around that, trying to see how we could work with CPS and Mr. Jaramillo in making that happen. So I feel confident. I think, you know, as we're moving into, you know, different stage of this pandemic, we want to be able to provide our students and families the wraparound services. So that's really important for me as a member. So I thank Mr. Jaramillo and Ms. Cassandra for, you know, taking my crazy text sometimes or a call just to share my enthusiasm about wanting to do things. But I think, you know, we do things and they come out better when we do it together. So I thought that's important to put out. And to our student rep, I just would love to see you engage in the CSI meetings. Maybe we could have a one-on-one and talk a little bit more, but that's a grant that the student voice is really important. So as a representative of the LSC, it will be great to have you join. So Mr. Jaramillo, I don't know what are the chances of that, but as we have a student that's active with us, it will be great to have her voice as well in some of those discussions as we're planning. So with that concludes my report. And we will go to our LSC reports. We'll go to the PAC. Mr. Jaramillo.
Just an update, as you know, we did not have PAC meetings. We weren't able to have the organizational meeting in previous months. We're going to attempt it again at the end of February. I will share the date with all of you and we'll post it on the school website. So at this moment, we don't have a report for PAC meeting.
Thank you for that. And thank you for the continuous attempts to try to have it. Do we have a student report?
As of right now, I don't have a student report. I'm still gathering information within the student body for anything that they want, any issues that they wish to bring up. So as of right now, I'm still working on that.
Okay, if I could interrupt a second, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is our first LSC meeting as a new LSC. So, you know, if there's any questions, Kaidi, or anything, please feel free to ask us, because some of the procedures may not be routine yet for you, or you may have questions. So right now we're just kind of going through all the different committee reports. It seems like you already have a grasp of that. And so usually when they come down and they ask for a student report, if you have anything to report or anything, any issues you want to talk about or any celebrations or anything you want to bring up, this is your time to bring that up. So I appreciate it and welcome. And that also goes for any other member, because we have some new members on our council. You may be new to Steinmetz, but maybe not to councils in general. Just feel free to ask us, especially during this first meeting when we're going through all the procedures.
And can I also say something, because this meeting is a great place to bring out things, and I did talk to Ms. Cervantes, but every one of us has like a an email, and we shouldn't wait until this meeting. And I know, especially for the student rep, when Mr. Martin was here, he had it. I said open door, but just got that emergency email. I always do, Mr. Harmel. So I just think that please, make sure you use those channels before you come here. You don't have to, but I think it's one of the most professional courtesy you can do.
Very well said. Athletic director report. Jacob wants me to put it loud so he could hear.
Oh boy. We just came from a meeting with the winter coaches. And while we are excited to have kids back into the building and back into athletics and that we're willing to give that to our kids, we are concerned and we are being very cautious in how we are rolling out athletics. While CPS says that practices can start tomorrow, we do not feel that we are ready for that. And until we have protocols in place to make sure that everyone is safe and aware, and we're going to hold off a little bit. We have a meeting tomorrow where all of the coaches, the principal, myself, will be listening to a presentation from sports administration. We're hoping that they will be able to answer many of the questions that we have, including questions about transportation, about doing the screening that they have to do, about different levels of sports and whether we'll be able to have them all. And most importantly, about how they think that we can start practice tomorrow and compete next week, Thursday. It seems impossible when kids have not only not been working out potentially, but having not worked out wearing a mask. This is a very big transition that these young people are going to have to make. And so we are concerned about that. And it is my hope, though I can't speak for everybody, that they will push back perhaps that first week of games, because I think it's just near impossible. At the same time, the way that they have scheduled all the sports to try and accommodate everyone, including those who missed their seasons in the fall, that would be football, girls volleyball, and boys soccer. They have condensed the seasons in such a way that there is a huge overlap. And students who traditionally played multiple seasons, now there's a week to 2 weeks where both of their seasons are happening at the same time. And this is potentially problematic for coaches like myself who coach volleyball and softball, and there's a 2-week overlap. I don't know how you coach both at the same time, especially one's an indoor and one's an outdoor sport. Steinmetz has always made a commitment to providing the best athletic programs that we can for our students, and we're going to continue to do that. But our number one priority right now is making sure that they are safe and make sure that if they come out, that they have an enjoyable time. That is not, we're not trying to put too much pressure on them. We're not trying to we just want to make sure that they get a sense of normalcy, but in a way that will not endanger anyone. So that's about the best I can offer right now. Different coaches are definitely sending out information to future seasons. So for example, baseball is now a summer sport, in case Jacob's listening, or whatever sport it is he's looking for. Basketball is going to be all of them, of course, all of them. Myself, Coach Kaminsky, we've all set up Google Classrooms for our student athletes, so that we can communicate with them quickly and easily in a CPS approved manner. So it's typical, we're waiting, and boom, now it starts. And so we're doing the best that we can to get everything together, and we're just going to try and make it really special for our students this year. And if Mr. Jaramillo wants to add to that, we just had a long meeting about it. So,
and I think you summarized it very accurately and concisely. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being responsible and not just rushing through that. Next in the agenda, it's our teacher's report. Russo, keep going. And Mr.
What?
Sergeant
Um,
Davis.
I, I, all I can say is that I'm happy it's a new semester. I'm happy that we got through last semester. I think everybody worked supremely hard. Teachers, admin, keeping us up to date, attendance, letting us know which students we really need to work with and call out and try and I think every teacher worked as hard as they could to get the most out of every student. And many students, they're getting used to this. They may not love it, but they're getting used to it. And so I think all that we can do and all that we have been doing is try and create engaging and interesting lessons that make the students want to get up, get out of bed, and come to our classes. Maybe sit at a table instead of being on their phones in bed. But I really am impressed with my seniors. Now I teach classes that they need to graduate, but they really they got it done. And I think most kids are trying. They don't love this necessarily, but they're trying. And I know how hard the staff is working to make sure that they're successful.
Mr. Sergeant.
And the only thing I would add, and we're going to start.
Yes.
We're going to start making this. Can you hear me? We're going to start making this a more formalized process and just making sure we speak a lot with our teachers. So this is, it's informal but formal in a sense, but definitely we'll have these meetings. But it's just a couple of things I would share, and one of the things is that I'll do anything, but sometimes I'm a non-believer. I was really not a supporter, but I did it of the Lightning Day. But I would tell you that all students rose to occasion and the teacher rose to occasions. I can think of any negative thing that a student would do. You give them an inch, they take a foot. And, but I would just say, unlike their previous actions, they made, and I know Mr. Harmon going to probably talk about this, but they made really good do with Lightning Day. The teachers did with Lightning Day. And I think that one of the things I would say about this learning, we've grown closer together. I do really agree. I believe those things. I see it work as a team, and I'm looking forward to going back into the building. But I do see those things, and I'm enjoying it. There are some hiccups here or there, but it's great. The other thing, I got a call from someone I'm really close to in the school, a couple of individuals, and I just want to make sure, and I just think that this person needs to be recognized again. Especially during an election year where there's so many negative things, that newspaper, again, is very balanced. And I was really surprised with all the negative things that you see on the news here with how positive and an outlook that the newspaper talked about those things. And I think that our students, the Steinmetz newspaper was more responsible in its language than the news that we have here on television today. And that's good credit to those individuals. And I think I think she should be definitely recognized because it's come a long way.
Master Sergeant, did you get a sneak peek at my presentation?
Negative, but I mean, we talked with someone about how that newspaper was. I mean, really, it was positive. I mean, because there's a lot of people that have hate out there, but that newspaper bringing people together more than taking them apart. And I really appreciate it.
Mr. Jaramillo, did you send us the newspaper?
No, it just came out.
I don't know that.
No, but I'm going to be sending it out, but I am going to address it in the principal's report as well.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Want to see what I'm excited to see now. So non-teacher report, left Mr. De Jesus.
For non-teacher report, a lot of people are excited that the vaccinations came out, and we were actually a part of the process for this past Saturday, because obviously they're 1 in a million around the city of Chicago, especially in the Belmont-Cragen area. So they're super excited, and they're just staring at their email to see when round 2 is going to come. So that was super news for the school and the community itself. Parents are actually coming to the building and doing the screener process if they need to pick up anything like kits or anything for art supplies, that our security guards and our admin team are actually putting together scheduled times for them to just pop into the door and grab the kit if needed. So our security guards are working hard with that, um, as well as our food distribution, our lunch team at the front door. They've been getting a lot of visitors and a few new visitors, which is a good thing, because a lot of people are weary of coming just because they're afraid of contracting or something like that, right? So, but we're making it a lot more cautious with everyone, so they feel comfortable coming to receive any of the resources that we can provide for them at the school.
Thank you, Mr. De Jesus, for sharing that. I do think that there's a sense of feeling safe at Steinmetz. When you say, more people coming in and feeling safe, when students went in for the pre-ACT, to hear, at least my son was like, wow, mom, I felt safe. You saw there was a protocol. You saw sanitize, you saw, masks, you saw signs. And I think that for him, gave him a sense of comfort of going back, right? And just
Yeah.
yesterday, I was in the building and seeing students, right, walk in the building to get the STEAM packages. I think that also says, right, that, they're feeling safe in that environment. So kudos to that process.
Yes, ma'am.
Our next group.
Thank you.
You're done, Mr. De Jesus. Thank you so much. I miss you. Okay. Bilingual? Oh, PPLC, sorry, PPLC. Master Sergeant?
Yeah, I think for us, and that's what I was talking about when I was in the teacher report in PPLC. And I'm thinking Ms. Russo's thinking the same thing for this thing.
Okay.
Talking about formalized, we will have a formalized PPLC meeting with some of the things. So what we do is when we talk to our counterparts, we cover all bases in the report, and I know they can be separate, and so we'll definitely have a little bit separate and more formalized by next meeting.
Bilingual Committee?
I don't have a report for them.
Do we have a
No,
report?
I don't have a
Mr.
report for
Aramillo,
them,
by
but
chance?
there was a meeting, I believe, a week or week and a half ago with Ms. Cotto, but I don't have a formal report.
Yeah, and I'm excited. I talked to some of the parents that are part of that committee, which Mercedes, I guess because of the schedule, may work better for her, Ms. Cotto's meetings. So they're really excited to be working with her. I'm getting really great feedback from the back. I did talk to some of the members. Special Education Committee,
No report.
CIWP, that'll go into your principal report? Maybe? No.
Yeah, no, not this meeting.
Okay. Fundraising committee? No.
No.
You want to go through the financial review now, or you just want to do it part of your principal report?
It's part of the
Did you have
principal
anything in
report.
that category?
Yeah.
Okay. Community report. We know this is a sad moment. Matthew Morgenthau is not with us anymore, so I know you're going to cover that as well in principal report.
Yeah.
Facilities and ground was also something that Matthew really pried on. So we got to make sure that we follow up and get active in those two areas. So now to principal report.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let me get my PowerPoint on the screen. 1 second here. I'm sorry for the delay. I keep having some connectivity issues. Give me 1 second. Let me try to do this again. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen, and I'm seeing if I see any heads nodding. Yep, okay, good. All right, I'll keep going. So as Ms. Valentine mentioned, we had the passing of Mr. Matthew Morgenthau at last month. Some of you may or may not have known Mr. Morgenthau for a long period of time. Mr. Morgenthau was a member of multiple LSCs. He's been doing it for many years. He was a representative at Mary Lyon as well as Steinmetz, and I believe possibly some other LSCs along the way. Mr. Morgenthau, I was able to attend his online service, and I found out that Mr. Morgenthau was actually a veteran. I didn't know Mr. Morgenthau was in the military. Through our conversations, that never came up, and that was surprising to hear. And Mr. Morgenthau really had a commitment and dedication. He truly had a passion for civic duty, whether it was in the military or whether it was continuing through community service with the local school councils. He had a knack for politics and for keeping up on the current events. And, one thing that struck me about Mr. Morgenthau is that no matter, how his health was or what was going on, even if you try to ask him, how are you doing? How are you feeling? He would change the subject right away and wants to know, how's Steinmetz? How's the facilities? How's this going? How's that going? And, his dedication, even through some of the difficult times, it just amazes me. And I've had conversations with the principal of Mary Lyon, Cliff Gabor, and we shared, the same stories, whether it's at Steinmetz or at Mary Lyon. He never put himself first. He wanted to put the school first, and he never wanted to have a conversation about himself. That just goes to show his true dedication and passion for helping our students and our community. And, he will be truly missed. As you can see in the shirt, his loyalties remain with Mary Lyon Steinmetz, even throughout his difficult times. And I just want to take a moment to remember him. And, one word that always comes to mind when I think of Mr. Morgenthau is he liked to use the word caliente, which means hot in Spanish, translated. And basically he meant, let's move on things while they're hot. When they're right there in front of you, let's make sure we move, keep things going, and keep moving forward. And in that spirit, I know he would want us to continue to be on things and be make sure that we get on things when they're caliente and keep moving forward to make the school a better place. And I just really appreciate everything Mr. Morgenthau has done for our school and our community. And if anybody wants to say anything, we'll take a moment now just to remember him. And we'll just take maybe a minute for reflection. And if you feel like you would like to say anything, please feel free to go ahead.
I just echo what you say. I think for me, I remember him when I was a student, and they were part of the council, right? So for me, is that legacy that he leaves, and I think hard shoes to fill, because it is true. He wanted to address the issues when they were hot, and he had the time to do it at times. So he made sure he was making those calls to City Hall, or to the mayor's office, or to someone at CPI. So we lost someone that really brought a very important role in our council, because council is not one person, but what we could all do together. And I think my reflection is about honoring each other now that we're healthy and still able to do so, because I would have loved that we took the time to honor his legacy, so he would, and he would have lived that moment. So that's just my reflection. And so many people have gone and lost their lives through COVID, and we lost him, is about us honoring each other now that we're alive and not later. So it's my reflection.
Thank you, Ms. Valentine, for those words. And again, we will continue to remember the spirit of Mr. Matthew Morgenthau and the that drive that he had, and devotion and energy that I think sometimes superhuman, honestly, and how he continued to be dedicated even when he was struggling with health issues and other things. It's just amazing. So, anyways, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And I just want to make sure that this is formalized in our minutes, and that it is memorialized of all the great things that Matthew has done for our council and our school and our community.
Mr. Madami, I do have a question for you. Can we honor, say, a hallway or, anything in the building? There's so many projects that I think he was part of, right? That if we could, get a placard maybe in memory of him, I think that'll be pretty cool as well.
We can definitely discuss that as a council and figure out how we would like to do that. Absolutely. Mr. Keelis just joined us, and I feel it's only proper. I mean, I know you missed all the stuff that we just said about Mr. Morgenthau, but right now we're just taking a moment to remember Mr. Morgenthau, and we're about to move on. But, I know Mr. Keelis worked very closely with Mr. Morgenthau, and I'd like to extend an opportunity to you if you would like to say anything regarding his memory or his legacy.
Oh, okay. I was trying to get off. Good evening, everybody. Hope that everybody's doing good to this weather. I just came from a doctor's appointment, so you gotta excuse me. On Matthew, matter of fact, this morning I bumped into a picture of us together, and when I saw it, I totally had forgotten that he's gone, because we were pretty close, and I don't see him like he has left, because the more I fight and work with things of the community, the more I remember him, and always behind me saying, go ahead, go get him, caliente. And those are good memories, and that we cannot forget. But mostly we can't forget that he never had kids, but he was so concerned about kids, about what they could get for him, for the kids, and he wasn't looking to look for something for him, but for the community. And those are the real good things that you have to remember about a person. What's the focus behind it? What is their motivation? And his motivation definitely was the kids. And I think, yes, whatever we do to honor him, I'm 100% behind it. And I think it's something that we have to look how we're going to do it. I think that one of the accomplishments that we worked together on was that clinic, maybe at the entrance of the clinic, because it's where a lot of people are coming in and out, or at the school, at the front of the school, where they could look up and say, well, who was Matthew? And we could say to them and explain to them that he played a big role at Steinmetz.
Thank you, Mr. Keelis. I appreciate it, and absolutely, we will discuss it as a team. And figure out how we can honor Matthew. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next slide. I know some of it was mentioned and earlier and maybe confused as to what is this lightning day they keep talking about. So basically, we heard a need from our students and we heard a need from our staff regarding some of the time that was being spent in classrooms online, and the balance between screen time, asynchronous time, synchronous time, and how do we balance that, and how do we benefit our students to give them opportunities, especially during this COVID environment, to be able to work on some of their assignments, have the flexibility. Part of the benefit of being in the building is that when a student needs to speak to someone, they can, sometimes during their lunch period, or maybe they can schedule an appointment, they could just walk to an office and go to a classroom and find their teacher, or, somebody that they need from the support staff. So they don't have that advantage now online. It's a little bit more difficult, even though they can reach out via email and schedule appointments and so on. So basically, one of the things that our teachers were considering is the possibility of maybe using a block schedule or modifying the bell schedule to accommodate our students' needs in the classroom. After much discussion throughout the staff, whether it was in departments, their instructional leadership team, through surveys and feedback, we came up with this idea of a lightning day. And, since our mascot is a streak, and streak, is related to lightning, so we came up with a lightning day. And so basically every Wednesday, from week 15 through week 20, and we're continuing going forward, what we're doing is we're offering a lightning day. It's still a regular day of instruction, but we're offering the asynchronous learning, which what was prescribed by CPS was that we commit 20% of our time to asynchronous learning minimally and 80% to synchronous learning. So just to clarify, asynchronous and synchronous, basically synchronous is when you're direct instruction with the teacher, and asynchronous could be off-screen time working on assignments independently or other things. So some of the things, just teacher action highlights, teachers present all period and take frequent attendance. They monitor chat and email. They use breakout rooms as needed. They do not provide new activities or lessons for the day. There's no live instruction delivered. And as students work independently, they can catch up on grading or planning or creating one-on-one spaces to meet with the students and give them feedback. This time is also used to work with average students on determining a path to success. I know Master Sergeant has used some of the time to do goal setting with the students and reflections. Other teachers have used it, for celebrations this week. And so there's some flexibility in how that time could be used. For the student side, what it looked like is that students were required to still be in class online. Once attendance is taken, they can begin to do some of the work and the makeup assignments or the enrichment or whatever it is that they needed to work on. They can ask their teacher clarifying questions. They could work with their peers in breakout rooms. If they're going to continue to work but want to be off screen, they can mute the meet and then schedule to meet with their counselors or whatever, and then they can check in. And there's an expectation that students will tell the teachers what they're working on, and then there's expectation that they will then follow through by the end of the session by sending it to the teacher or what have you. So after we did this first lightning day, some of the concerns were, well, will students attend? Will they take it as a blow-off day? What could happen, right? But we decided to take the chance anyways. Some other schools and some other high schools have done some things similar, and so we decided to move forward with it. After the first day, we took a staff poll and we surveyed to get their feedback, and we were tracked that the rest of the 4 weeks we had remaining for the semester, and we found that there was no drop in attendance for that day. As a matter of fact, some days even had better attendance by a small percentage than other Wednesdays or other days in the week. So we were very pleasantly surprised by that. Some of the feedback that was shared by students is they enjoyed the day. It was a relief that they needed. Teachers were happy with the day as well, and they had opportunities to meet with their students and catch up. And it also gave some time for our post-secondary team to also schedule some appointments to meet with our students to work on their post-secondary plans. So it really offered a lot of flexibility for students and teachers and helped to give students the relief that they needed, which the relief was anything from I need time to just concentrate on some of my assignments and work and get feedback from the teachers and assistants, all the way to I just need some time to be off the monitor because I'm getting headaches and migraines from being on the monitor for 7-8 hours a day. So we will continue with the lightning days. This is the first day of the new semester. I mean, this week is the first week of the new semester. Today, the focus was on, like I said, Matt Sargent was doing goal setting. Some other teachers were doing celebrations. And next week, we'll focus on our STEAM challenge. Actually, I think we're going to move that 1 week because we're still handing out packets. But then we will get into the routine of building our students to be proactive and using the STEAM days ahead of time. The lightning days ahead of time to go ahead and find out what assignments they need to make up, what things they can do to build their skills. And so they know going into Wednesdays what they need to work on and be responsible for, and then hand that to their teachers. So when you hear about lightning days, this is what we're referring to. The next update that I want to share with everyone is some of the counseling and post-secondary work. I'm proud of our counseling and post-secondary team. We had the privilege of being acknowledged at our network meeting, so much so that we were asked to present to the other schools in our network what is the work that we're doing and how are we accomplishing this work. And we have a very strong counseling post-secondary team. And today, we were sent an email in celebration of our accomplishments. Currently, we're one of the schools in the network that has the highest amount of completed college applications for seniors, as well as the amount of seniors accepted into at least one college. So we're at 80% for completed 3 more applications, 81 for accepted into at least one college. Going forward, our post-secondary and counseling team for this semester, they're going to start doing credit checks and transcript evaluations to make sure the students have the credits and earn the credits they needed last semester and that they're on track for graduation and making sure they're meeting all the requirements. This happens out regularly throughout the year, but this is definitely a very important midpoint where they start checking those transcripts, combing through there and making sure they're meeting all the things that students need in order to graduate. Programming is starting as well. So we're programming students for next year for the classes they need for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. And I am proud to announce through our collaboration with Steinmetz, our community schools grant and Northwest Side Housing Center, we are bringing in some support services for our students. During our committee meetings, Ms. Valentin could probably attest to this, Ms. Gina Sikolsky had brought up many times being supportive of like what SEL supports are we bringing for our students. And as a result, we were able to explore some partnerships, and we are going to be working with UCAN, who they're going to be supporting our students through a phenomenal women's group, which is basically like a mentorship program. And that female women's program is basically a way to balance out that we also have a male mentoring program, which I'll talk about in a second. And we also have a program called Express that is basically a therapeutic art program, maybe similar to what we used to have art therapy, but this is run through UCAN, and it's to allow students to be able to create artwork and express their feelings and opinions, especially during this time of pandemic. Our students are needing these SEL supports, and we want to make sure that we can give them the services that they need. Some of the conversations that we've been having lately focus around what's going to happen when students return. We have a lot of trauma, we have a lot of stress, we have a lot of issues that next school year or whenever we return is not going to look like a typical school year. So what kind of services can we put in place to offer our students, and what outlets could we give them, positive outlets to be able to work with each other and be able to work with our counselors and other supports. The other thing is our male mentoring program is launching this month. This program focuses on Latino and African American males specifically who are at risk, and we are pairing them up with mentors from the building in order to help them through, make sure they get through senior year and graduation, and giving them an individual that they can talk to who has been there before regarding this journey onto post-secondary programs and success. So we're really excited about that as well. Next, this was spoken about a little bit earlier. I want to talk to you a little bit about the pandemic response from PCC, the Northwest Side Housing, and the Vaccination Center. So meal service continues at Steinmetz. We serve meals every day of the week. And as Mr. DeJesus said, there is an increase, and people are more comfortable coming and picking up those meals. And there's no questions asked. Anybody can come and pick up a meal for their children. PCC, which is our on-site clinic, which Mr. Keelis had talked about, Mr. Morgenthau had worked on, and the council. But PCC is offering COVID vaccinations as an organization to registered patients. So if you are currently a PCC Salud or a PCC Steinmetz or any PCC registered patient, they are now offering COVID vaccinations to Group 1A and 1B. As part of having these COVID vaccinations, they reached out to Steinmetz through our monthly meetings when we discussed it, and they were able to get a group of patients together who needed to be vaccinated, as well as offering all of our staff members who were interested in receiving the vaccine as part of being a Group 1B, the opportunity to be vaccinated by PCC. That drive happened this past weekend, and they were administering the Moderna vaccine, and a month later, they're going to give the second dose of the Moderna vaccine. I am proud to say that we did have over 55 staff members who were interested and received the vaccine. I think the number may have increased a little more towards the end. I didn't get a final count yet, but basically this is going to be part of their response for the community and making sure that they can support our staff through our partnership as much as possible. So with that being said, I would also like to mention is that Steinmetz, it's been very fluid, and this is breaking news, but Steinmetz was informed that we are going to be a hub for community vaccination for 60639 area code, zip code, I'm sorry, for the 60639 zip code. And so over the past few days, we've been having meetings, conversations, going back and forth in establishing what that's going to look like. The goal for the city of Chicago is in the 36th Ward in Northwest Side Housing. They're partnering with Oak Street Health, and the goal is to administer 1,000 vaccines on Saturday and 1,000 vaccines on Sunday. So 2,000 vaccines each weekend for 4 weeks for the first vaccine, and then another 4,000 for the next set of weeks. So over the next 8 weeks, they are going to be vaccinating individuals who live in the 60639 zip code. It is my understanding that there is a waiting list that people have been registering with the city, and that information has been going to community partners, and that's how they're being contacted. But eventually we will be able to release the links and information to the community once all of that is solidified, so that they can put more people on the list and schedule appointments. As you know, 60639 is a hotspot, and there was 5 strategic locations which were picked throughout the city because of their COVID-19 numbers. And they're starting with Steinmetz as a hub for 60639. They're starting in the Belmont Cragen community first, and then they're going to roll it out to the other schools as centers every week. So it is a huge undertaking. It is not something that is simple. but it is definitely doable. It's exciting. I am so excited to be part of this work, how important it is for our community. I truly believe in this. And, you know, we have great partners through Alderman's office of the 36th Ward, Northwest Side Housing, Oak Street Health. And we're really excited to be able to offer this to the community. Another thing I want to mention is Northwest Side Housing Center is working on distributing food and supplies on a weekly basis to the community. I've been sharing those flyers on our Facebook page. We're trying to see if we can bring some of those resources to the building for distribution so that we can make not only a COVID vaccine and a lunch hub, but also give out some of these resources at Steinmetz so that we can make it more accessible to community members. I don't know if Ms. Valentin would like to add anything to this, if I left anything out.
Sorry, it is mute. No, I think you covered it. I think for us is a great you know, the way it looks that we will become a hub for the community. So we're not just dealing with vaccine. So it's just a great opportunity. And just to this site, the city has also committed 4 additional outreach events at 4 churches in the community, where at those locations, they will provide 500 vaccine. So there are a lot of resources coming in. So it'll be great to get this information out to the broader community and also to our school community. So thanks for that support.
No problem. Thank you. Next, I just want to talk a little bit about the SES programming. You know, Ms. Hernandez, Ms. Valentin, we've been in meetings regarding SES programming, and we've talked about it from different aspects, with whether it's student enrichment, students SEL support, or parent programming. We were off to a slow start beginning in first semester. A lot of that was, I believe, because it was so new and nobody knew really how to get community partners on board and pivot to use online resources and trying to bring in some resources for our students. We're finally getting everything growing and off the ground. The numbers for some of the programs are still low. But what we've heard at the SES meetings and from Community Schools Initiative Grant Leadership is that numbers are low across the city, and that our numbers are actually pretty decent. So they want us to continue with offering programs and hopefully create more enrichment opportunities for students. So as far as student enrichment is concerned, currently what we're offering students is Girls Who Game, which they're focusing in on some of the work around coding. And we have a sponsorship from, I forgot the name of the organization, but they have sent like book bags, and I think it's Girls Who Game is the parent company, but they have sent book bags and different materials for our students so that they can have the resources they need. And it's focused around not only creating, for example, what's on the screen is an example of a virtual world that they created, but they have to put in code to give commands to make certain actions happen. And so as they grow learning these skills, what they're going to do is they're going to start working on little computers. I believe they're called Raspberry Pi, and they're going to learn how to also do some digital work so they could program Christmas lights that are synchronized to music. So there's a lot of little different activities that they're doing that are they may seem simple, but they're very involved when it comes to coding. And so we're really excited about that dedicated group of girls who are working on those activities, and it's been pretty popular.
Mr. Jaramillo, you got me thinking already, because I'm already planning the Christmas parade, right, in my head. So that would be a great opportunity if we could get like a project with the students where they could maybe provide some of the lights that we could decorate some of the vehicles or whatever it is, that we do in December. But maybe there's an opportunity there. I'm just thinking lights, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We kind of had some conversations about that, about how can we take their projects and use those skills, and maybe, because what they're trying to do is synchronize lights to music and different things, and then how maybe we can have a display maybe on the front of the building or in the garden. And that's a great idea. Maybe we could expand it to, a parade or something. Another thing is the photography, which has been popular for quite a few years. Snow City Arts working on art-focused activities. CompuDot, which is going to be bringing in some training opportunities for our students so that they can learn how to work on computers and networking, and then they can actually earn their way to receiving a free computer. That's going to be coming up soon. Tutoring, Among Us, clay creations, which Ms. Sikulski is working on, and kids are creating different characters made out of clay based off of the Among Us. I believe it's a game. I'm not exactly sure, but they're creating those figures. And After School Matters, of course, which has been popular for a long time at Steinmetz. As I already mentioned, we're bringing in SEL supports, UCAN, Phenomenal Women, and Express. And I am super happy to see the launch of the parent programming. I know there was a little bit of a transition at Northwest, and they were looking to hire personnel to take over this area of work and relieve Cassandra of some of the responsibilities, because she has a lot on her plate as it is. But some of the programs that have been coming out, and we've been posting classes in English, some are in Spanish, but Cooking Matters, Yoga for Beginners, Special Education Advocacy through the Office of Diverse Learner Supports, Citizenship classes. And before I got onto this meeting, I was just sent flyers for English ESL classes. So as the vaccine rolls out, as activities are adapting to online learning, as things start opening up a little bit more, we're also seeing the growth of and the return of some of these parent programs, which is super exciting to see the engagement starting up again, because for one semester there and for a little bit at the end of the year, it felt like there really wasn't that cohesiveness or connection. I think all of us, right, as a community, were lost and trying to pivot and figure out what we can and cannot do, and how do we get resources to parents and students. I only have like 2 or 3 more slides. Reopening, part of building reports. As you know, CPS and CTU have an agreement. It was voted on yesterday or up to last night. It has been approved. The high school guidance was not part of that contract. That was removed. So high school guidance is still forthcoming. My understanding is that there's committees. I've talked to some of my principal colleagues. They're on the committee. There's various committees, and they're talking about reopening and what that looks like, safety concerns, programming concerns, so on and so forth. So right now, that's not on the table as far as the contract is concerned, but there have been and continue to be conversations between CPS principals and I believe CTU to see what this is going to look like. Sports, an announcement was made by CPS that sports can start Thursday, and that is also very fluid and changing by the minute. We had a meeting before this with the coaches. We have another meeting tomorrow with a webinar where we have a lot of questions, a lot of very valid questions, some of the same concerns and probably, that the parents have about safety, about making sure that our students are well taken care of. That's most important to us. But I will say that, it's great to hear the coaches and the concern that they have about making sure that this is not just seen as a season of let's compete. This is seen as, okay, how do we give our students a sense of normalcy? How do we give them a sense of belonging? How do we get them out of the house to start having some activities that they enjoy and get that social emotional release and relief that they've been looking for in a positive, safe way? And of course, our goal is to create a safe environment for all of our students. And that's number one. In regards to preparedness, although we're not reopening for students at this moment, we have been supplied with a lot of the equipment that all the other schools have received, the elementary schools who are opening. We have air purifiers in each classroom, PPE, deliveries of wipes, sanitizer, masks, so on and so forth. Hand sanitizer machines have been installed and filled in each classroom and common areas and bathrooms. The floor stickers and signage have been placed throughout the building, including, the pool and common areas. lunchrooms, so on and so forth, bathrooms. Plexiglass shields have been installed in offices, by security stations, and some other places where there's potential contact with the public. Water fountain adapters have been installed on some water fountains. As you can see in the picture, basically what we've been told is, part of safety, students are not to use, or people are not to use the water fountains from the mouthpiece area. So what we're encouraging everyone is to have a water bottle and fill your water bottle using this retrofitted device that's been put onto the water fountains. So these are located around the building in different areas, so that there's no contact with mouth to possibly to to the spigot, or to the metal that other people can make contact with. We have huge deliveries of face masks for students. I believe it's an average of 3 or 4 per student, a few thousand. We'll just put it that way, few thousand masks, cloth masks. We have hands-free paper towel dispensers have been replaced, been installed across the building. Wherever they used to have the lever to push to get the hand towels, all those have been taken off, and hands-free, where you just pull the paper towel instead of pushing any levers. All of the paper towel dispensers have been replaced. Also, part of that is that they don't want us to use the air dryers. So everyone has to use paper towel dispensers. So we can't use the air dryers to dry our hands. So those have been disconnected as well. Monitoring and changing filters for the air system has been accelerated. So it's on a more frequent basis than what is recommended by companies for the air filters themselves. So they're being changed on a more frequent basis per CPS. And an air quality test was conducted by an independent contractor hired by CPS, and we were able to pass that air quality test. All this information is available on CPS's website regarding reopening. And last but not least, I just want to highlight some students and some student acknowledgements and celebrations that have come through. And this is not everything that's going on, but it's just a few highlights. We had a student, Keith, who is a sophomore at Steinmetz, and he was recognized by the Chicago Bears and the Hand Club for Kids in the Austin neighborhood for his work during COVID. He had been working with I believe it was like a garden, and looking at growing food for the community. And he had been working with this organization all throughout COVID and really helping the community to distribute food and other things. And he was recognized as a hero, community hero on the Chicago Bears website. So we're very proud of his accomplishments and very proud of his dedication to civic duty and to trying to help communities during this tough time. So we did share this on our website, and our Facebook, and I just want to make sure I share it with all of you on the council. Yep, sorry. In addition, each year, some of our students participate in the Museum of Science and Industry Black Creativity juried art exhibition. There's a category for students, for teens, and there's categories for adults, and basically a jury or a panel decides which art should be part of this exhibition. And we're very proud to announce that we're still receiving announcements regarding our students' work, but so far we've received announcements that 3 of our students have had art that was selected to be part of this exhibition. Our 3 artists are Nia Langley, Grace Ayena, and Alanda Bardney. And this is a picture of Nia from, I think, last year, where her art was displayed in the gallery. We don't know which pieces were selected yet, so as soon as we find out which pieces, and those are announced to us, it's kind of a surprise, we'll go ahead and share pictures of the pieces with you. But this is her artwork from last year, and she's already won 3 years in a row. And so we're very proud of her and of all the students and their artwork that was selected to be part of this art exhibition. And also, this is CTE, Celebration Month. So we will be highlighting on our Facebook page and our website some of the work that's going on in classes and the work that our students are doing in digital media. And if you look at the pieces that are here, these are created by students in digital media classes, and our fantastic teachers are Mr. Edwards and Ms. Eichstadt. And as you can see, this first one is a hand-drawn avatar using a computer. The other one is a double exposure, so you can see the background picture and you can see the picture of a face in the foreground, and the contrast there. And the next one is a camera roll, layer mask, and adjustment layers. So it's using different layers to create different images and effects. And then the last one is a design for a t-shirt. And all of our students have been working very hard in their digital media classes, and this is part of the sequence that they take and some of the projects that they work on. And I believe this is last but not least, as Master Sergeant had stated, we would like to congratulate the students of the Steinmetz Star and Miss Wemmer for putting together a newspaper that I emailed her, and I was just taken back by how balanced, how beautiful, how well thought out the newspaper was. And what I told her was that, there was a little bit of everything for everyone, but I also really enjoyed how this newspaper, I walked away after reading it, I walked away thinking like this was a true time capsule and snapshot of what's going on in our current times. It was amazing that from personal stories about how students are dealing with COVID, how are they dealing with online learning, to the elections, to the movie reviews, to what they do in their spare time, to highlighting staff members, highlighting students, poetry. I mean, it was really a snapshot of our point in time that I think future generations, when they look back at the archives of the Steinmetz Star to see what life was like, I think when they pick up this edition, they're going to be able to see exactly what was going on and get a review that had, as Master Sergeant said, both sides, right? There wasn't like, it was trying to be an attack paper on one side or taking a position, even though you could hear students' voices and positions, but it was done in such a manner that I think it really truly represents our current times and the voices of our students. So I'm really, really proud of the Star crew and the work that they did. And so we'll be sharing the link. The newspaper just came out. We'll be sharing that link with you in our next update or newsletter. And that's all I have for tonight. I apologize for going on so long, but there's a lot going on, and our students are and our staff are working hard. They finished first semester, and now we're going to start second semester. And there's a lot of change. There's a lot of things coming ahead as far as to look forward to is graduation and some other activities. And we're trying to make this the best experience that we can as we remain fluid, remain able to adapt and bring resources to our students and move forward from there. So that pretty much concludes my principal's report.
Thank you, Mr. Jaramillo. Any questions from any council member? Cool. Okay. So now we'll go to the part of the agenda in regards to budget transfer. Do you have any budget transfers, Mr. Jaramillo?
Yes, I sent that the documents to everyone earlier today. Let me zoom in here so I can. So we have a few budget transfers. Science department had requested some software licensing to do interactive demonstrations for their science curriculum from a company called Gizmos. We also need to renew our question banks for math and biology and chemistry through Follett, in addition to some purchases that happened earlier in the year as far as reconditioning some of the football equipment that has to happen regardless every year, whether students play or not, in order to meet the safety standards. some field equipment for baseball, which happened earlier in the year, and then some of the soccer balls and the uniforms from BSN to finish paying off some outstanding purchases that were made at the beginning of the year. So that's all I have for budget transfers. All of you have the documents. If there's any questions, if not, we can consider it for a motion to vote on the budget transfers.
Any questions, anyone? So then you made the motion, Mr. Jaramillo?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the budget transfers as presented for the February 10th LSC meeting.
I second.
Okay, open for discussion. Close for discussion. All in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis,
Yes.
Sergeant Davis, yes. Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Ms. Hernandez,
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez,
Yes.
Mr. Schwager is not here, Mr. Toledo is not here, Ms. Aguirre is not here, and Ms. Cervantes.
Yes.
9 yes, no no's. Motion passed 6:17 p.m.
Great, thank you.
Can I ask a question? Is Cervantes a student?
Yes, she is.
Students cannot vote on the money issues.
Should we go ahead and redo the vote?
No, just omit that vote. That's it. I believe it still passes, but
Yeah, it still passes. I thought it was only one thing. I thought they can vote on funding. I thought it just couldn't be the principal contract or evaluation. I have to double look. Check.
it's supposed to be both evaluation and money issues.
Okay. For this, it'll pass. So we'll put it in this discussion. But I'll double check on that too, just to make sure. But we'll say 8 yes. Motion passed. Still yet the same given time, and I just put a remark in the comments.
And I would say, Master Sergeant, once you get the information, let's share it with the students so then she knows, right? Like what?
Well, she's in my class, so I definitely
Okay.
talk to her.
All right.
One last thing. I know we still doing budget. Mr. Jaramillo, did you still need anything for the? I know you say you update us, and I just want to make sure we're still good with the yearbook. Anything else that you need, or are we still on track?
Yeah, as of right now, we are on track. We probably should be able to have final discussions on that maybe the next meeting. But yeah, right now we were able to find the funding for that. And the yearbook has been in process, and we're going full steam ahead on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I have a question on that.
Sure. Good.
Yeah, I thought that in one of the meetings we decided that we were going to see some other vendors. How did it come along that we're moving on? I'm just asking in case I missed something.
My recollection was we were going to look at other vendors for next school year, and we were going to decide this school year for next school year and invite vendors to present. but because of the immediacy of being able to start the class at the beginning of the school year, we all agreed that we were going to go ahead and approve the sponsorship for the yearbook this school year, with the understanding that we were going to invite vendors to come in at the end of the year to present for next school year.
Right.
And that's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the agreement. So what you're gonna present next month is what then?
So
the new vendors or where we're at?
where
you got
we're
this-
at. So if you guys recall, when we voted on it earlier in the school year, we had suggested that we look for the community schools grant, since all that funding would not be used for the programs that we had in place for this school year that was planned, to see if they would allow us to use some of that funding to apply towards the yearbook. So that conversation has already occurred with community schools, and they are going, I believe the adjustment on their end, because that's a budget they run, the adjustment was already made or in process, and they are going to fund the yearbook. So I didn't want to be premature and give you all the details of, of without having it in front of me of how much or whatever. But basically, we agreed that we were going to try not to use any internal accounts or use funding from a budget line if we can get outside resources or if we can get a grant to pay for it. And that's exactly what happened. My understanding is through the community schools grant, they're going to cover the cost of the yearbook for this year. So it's not going to cost us anything as far as using internal accounts or school budget. So part of that was that we voted and we approved that in the case that we could not find that alternative source of funding, then we had basically contingency plan that would allow us to make sure we can pay for the yearbook that we were going to get into a contract with the vendor. And that's when we voted on making sure that we this year invite multiple vendors to come in and show us their products and decide this year what we were going to do with the yearbook, so that we could have a plan in place for next school year. So we're in August, September, we're not trying to figure out what we're going to do with the yearbook. Part of the concern was changing the format of the yearbook, making sure the students had access to the software, the number of pages, the sizes, and all those things we discussed at an earlier meeting this school year and approved.
Is there another, what's next on the agenda is internal accounts, Mr. Jaramillo?
I think we just voted on the internal account. So yeah, I think we're in, I'm sorry, that was budget transfer. I'm sorry. Yeah. Internal accounts, right.
Yeah.
This is the part where we, I already sent the internal accounts.
I'm tired, but I'm on the
agenda. I sent all the documents to everyone earlier this week,
Right.
for your review, on internal accounts. So if I could make a motion to approve the internal accounts as presented.
I'll second that because I did review it.
Second.
Open
ready
for
when you're ready.
discussion. Close for discussion. Roll call vote.
Mr. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis,
Aye.
Ms. Sergeant Davis, yes. Ms. Lopez. Ms. Lopez,
In favor.
Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Mr. DeJesus,
Yes.
Mr. Hernandez.
Oh, she had to sign off. She put something in the chat. Apologizing.
Okay.
She had to sign
Thank
off.
you, sir. Thank you. Ms. Sanchez,
Yes.
Mr. Oswego is not here. Mr. Toledo is not here. Ms. Aguirre is not here. And Ms. Cervantes, and I'll just put a note in the thing. Ms. Cervantes.
Yes.
8 yes, no no's, motion passed, 6:25 p.m.
Wow, is this a record or what? All right.
We're
Steinmetz
actually
got
on
it correct.
schedule.
I know. Wow. Way to go, 2021. Any final thoughts, council members? Anything, anything final?
I will just mention, and I didn't mention the principal's report, that discussions are happening about graduation at the district level and some considerations. I know that may come up as people's concerns as we go forward. You know, what's the end of the year going to look like, so on and so forth. So as soon as we get information, we'll share it with everyone. It looks like possibly the movement is going to be to do another drive-through graduation because a lot of people really enjoyed it, and we're not sure what COVID and the grouping sizes are going to be. So right now that is in committee with CPS and administrators, but that seems to be the common thought of doing an event like that. And our students were asking for it last year who were coming up, and so they kind of wanted it. Even if we had a regular graduation, they still wanted to do the graduation parade. So it looks like we're probably going to go through with that regardless.
Yeah, and as we think of 2022, maybe start thinking outside because if it's still COVID, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can space out there, right?
Can you tell them class of 2022? Okay. Anyways, any final thoughts? Anyone else? All right. So we broke record. Our next LSC meeting will be March 10th. Thank you, Walter, for joining our meeting and being a support. Thank you to all the council members. I make a motion to adjourn our February 2021 meeting.
I second that.
Open for discussion, close for discussion, roll call vote.
Ms. Jaramillo,
Yes.
Ms. Valentine,
Yes.
Mr. Keelis,
Aye.
Sean Davis, yes. Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Russo,
Yes.
Mr. De Jesus,
Yes.
Ms. Sanchez is not here. Ms. Hernandez is not here. Ms. Sanchez,
Yes.
Mr. Suega is not here. Mr. Toledo is not here. Mr. Guerra is not here, and Ms. Cervantes.
Yes.
8 yes, no no's, motion passed, 6:27 p.m.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great night. Be safe. Rumors have it that they're expecting a lot of snow on Monday and Tuesday. So be careful out there and don't overexert yourself. And we will send out any information that we get regarding the vaccine or anything else, any updates out to you as soon as we get that. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
And I am going to stop the recording.